Time and money. Two things. Time and money. One of them is absolutely priceless. The other one is absolutely made up. But remember the saying, time is money? Well, if you know anything about business, you know time is money. But is money time? All right, back up. This is what I mean. Let's think about this for a second. Now, I'm going to hit you with the real simple at first. We know that time is precious. Time, if you look at it as a commodity, it's the most precious commodity that we have. You can't get it back. When you succeed, when you fail, whether you attempt or whether you sit your ass down and stand off to the side and you don't do anything, time is constantly ticking. As far as we know it, time is constantly ticking and you can't get it back. You can't go back as far as we know it. So what I'm saying to you is time is the most precious commodity we have because it's one we can't replenish. So in that sense, time is priceless. But we also know that, like I say, in the business world, time is money. If you take all day making a decision, you take all day getting your shit together, you take all day trying to figure out what direction to go in and who you can trust, your competitors beat you out. The market's changed. Things have changed. Evolution has changed. So it's not even just business. If your evolution is too slow, time, you lose out. So you got to think about that in many forms. But if your evolution is too slow, you'll become obsolete. So time is extremely precious, extremely precious. But now, instead of thinking about this on this big macro level, still on the simple, with a simple context, let's look at it differently. Person to person, think about time. We only generally give time either to the people that we want to give our time to, or in situations where we have to give you our attention, have to give you our time. And time is essentially attention. It's pretty hard to separate what you're paying attention to from time. You know what I'm saying? You might be dozing off, you might be in a daze, in a fog, and not really paying attention to something, but you are paying attention to something. And think about the term, paying attention. I don't know the history of the word, but paying attention. Oh, I don't pay them no attention. Oh, you got my full attention. I'm paying you attention. Because of the relationship to time, that commodity is kind of like every second, every minute, you're paying attention. And so even for you watching this video, for me making this video, it's my time, it's your time, it's YouTube's time, it's life's time. It's a commodity that's precious, that's always being spent. And so in that sense, you're paying attention. So I appreciate you, I really do. For all the videos, for however long, I really do appreciate it, because you ain't got to pay me shit. Vice versa. But if you think about it person to person, when someone is giving you their attention, that's a certain currency. Now, most people have heard the expression "pay attention." A lot of people have thought of time in the narrative of a commodity, and thus, in some type of economic monetary form, maybe. But most people don't think about it. Most people don't think about time in the context of currency. You giving someone your time and attention, them giving you their time and attention, in a certain way, it's almost like them giving you money. In a certain way, it's almost like them handing you, I got 2 dimes and a nickel right here. Here's 25 cents. How much does that represent of your time? Now let's think about this. I actually thought about this. It's part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, because this shit gets kind of deeper. So like I said, on a surface level, you paying someone attention. Now sometimes people get your attention in a shocking, jarring type of way. It's non-consensual. You didn't consent to it. And it could be good or bad, but a loud noise, a jarring movement or something, and you pay attention to it. You paid them. You didn't necessarily choose to. It's almost like they put their hand in your pocket and grabbed out a couple of coins. Now sometimes something catches your attention. That's different, and it's more powerful, and it will hold your attention much longer. And in that sense, it is like you said, hey, let me pay you for the entertainment, the education, whatever the drama, whatever the fuck it is that you're providing me, let me pay you that in the form of attention. Here's my attention coins, my currency. So when someone is giving you their attention, when you're giving someone your attention, it's almost like I say, it's almost like you're paying them some type of currency, life currency, attention currency, whatever you want to call it. Life currency, that's kind of deep. So I broke down the numbers. I broke down some numbers because I love numbers. That's one other thing about me. So anyway, let's say a person's life, while precious, while priceless, let's say someone's life in today's dollars is valued at $10 million. Now, I think a lot of people, especially the litigious people, motherfuckers that always want to sue somebody, if you were to value their life at $10 million, a lot of people would accept that. A lot of people would accept $8 million, but a lot of people would definitely accept $10 million. My life is worth $10 million. Your life is priceless. But for the sake of argument, let's say your life is worth $10 million. Now, let's say you live 70 years. There's places around the world where people live much longer than that. Japan, Italy. There's places around the world that live much shorter than that. I'm not going to call out names. But let's just say relatively you live 70 years. So if there's 24 hours in a day, and there's 365 days in a year, break out your calculators, the autistic people, tap on your head. I'm sorry. I guess I'm slightly autistic then. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, times that by 70 years. You come up with, I think 312, 600, I had to write it down, 613,000 hours. 613 and 200,000 hours. So over 600,000 hours. You divide 10 million into that number. Like I say, get out your calculators, check this shit on your own. You don't have to rely on me. You divide that 10 million lifetime value, divided by that 613,000 plus hours, you're gonna get about first divide that 10 million by 70 years. So that comes out to about $143,000 a year. Not a lot of people are going to complain about that. So that means just for being a fucking live, just for you letting time pass by, you're worth $143,000 a year. You're making $143,000 a year, $10 million lifetime value. If you were to break it down per hour, this is where I'm getting to attention, life currency. If you were to break down that $10 million and now break it down by hours, you get about 613,200 hours. So that 10 million divided by that 613,000 plus hours comes out to about $16+ an hour. Just for fucking being alive. $16 an hour every hour. Every hour. And if you chop that by 60 minutes, how much are you making? How much are you worth per minute? I think it's like 27 cents. So say 5 minutes, it's about $1.35 or some shit like that. So what I'm trying to get to is for every minute that you're paying attention to someone, for every minute that someone's paying attention to you, it's worth about a fucking quarter. So however much time you don't have to give to somebody, or you know, whatever the scarcity of give a fucks, and so therefore I don't have time for you, if you thought about it in just pure term life currency, the amount of money your life is worth divided by the minutes in your 70-year life. A minute of your time is worth about a fucking quarter. So you could minimize that and be like, hey dog, you want my attention for 5 minutes? $1.35. $1.50 with tax. Or you could look at it in terms of, what did it cost me to give you a minute of my time? For me to hear you, for me to see you, for me to relate to you, for me to teach you, or for me to fucking learn from you? What did it take for me to just shut the fuck up and listen and give you my attention for a minute? It didn't cost me anything. It doesn't cost us anything. So as much as we're trying to make this money in a short amount of time that we have in this life, in this body, in this avatar, whatever the fuck this is, we have to slow down and think, like, even if you broke it down monetarily, because a lot of us probably ain't worth $10 million. So that value per minute is probably much lower than a quarter. But if we just slow down for a minute sometimes and just get back to the priceless value of being human, to the priceless value of giving someone your time and your attention for a moment, that humanity, that trade, that reciprocity, that's worth way more than that fucking quarter that in theory you're demanding of someone. Oh, you want my attention for 2 minutes? 50 cents, baby. Come on now. Now, the second little add-on part I want to add on to this video is, well, I got to mention my sponsor. My sponsor is my Pockets. Y'all need to donate to my Pockets. My Pockets is not as full as they need. I'm just bullshit. I just love how some videos at some point they bust in with a sponsor. No, but the second little add-on part that I want to add to the video is your budget. Time not only can be thought of in certain ways as a currency, but what about your actual budget, the actual money that you have that you spend? Now, we all earn our bread differently. Most of us earn our bread differently. I'm diversified. That's why my name is Diversified. I'm an entrepreneur into different things, legal. And so I make my bread in different ways. We all make our bread in different ways. But how you spend that bread, that also has a huge significance to what's going on in your life and who you are, what your values are. So how you spend your time, yes, because that's a certain currency. But how you actually spend your fucking currency kind of dictates into who you are and what type of time you spend on things. So this is what I mean. So now it gets a little bit deeper. So your actual budget. It's pretty hard to separate what you pay attention to from the time that you spend. But it's also kind of hard to separate what you value from what you spend your money on. And this is what I mean. So there's some things you spend your money on, pure entertainment. There's some things you spend your money on, charity. There's some things you spend your money on, necessities, fucking bills, obligations, debts. There's some money you spend your on, investments. What I'm getting to is, yes, there's various ways that you spend your money. But on a certain level, if you really think about it, this is why you got to go a little deeper. If you really think about it, outside of your core obligations, the money that you spend what you spend your money on says a little bit about what you value. Now, this does not have to be a judgment. Calm down. Don't got to get, defensive. But it does say a little bit about what you value. If you're someone and most of your disposable income, if you got any, most of your leisure money, you spend it on weed and drinks and going out. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I don't know nothing about you. But what someone could deduct from that is that you value either a certain amount of leisure, a certain amount of, say, celebration after a hard week of work, relaxing and chilling before a hard week of work. You value a certain amount of leisure or certain activities. If you're someone that spends most of your disposable income on sports bets, it doesn't have to be that you're some degenerate that's going to drag your family off to ruin. It could be you're a statistician. You see certain shit. It could be because you really like sports and this is one of the few fucking hobbies you have in this world. It could be because one of your friends got you into it. Who the fuck knows? But someone could deduct, maybe you like a little entertainment, you like a little risk, you like competitive outcomes. Let's say you spend your money on food. No one's calling you overweight. No one's calling you unhealthy. Maybe you're a foodie. Maybe you are taking people out to eat. Maybe it's just, who the fuck knows? But what I'm saying is at some level, when you get a little deeper with it, it becomes harder to separate what you spend your money on, your budget, your leisurely disposable budget, and some of your priorities. It gets kind of hard to separate that from what someone would say are your values. So if you combine the two in a certain way, they don't all the way overlap, but if you combine the two, and you look at what you pay attention to, not just what you spend your time on, because some people think like, oh, I go to the gym, I work out, I eat healthy food, I have good relationships, but then they're on their phone 6 hours a day watching bullshit. So yeah, you are doing positive things and paying attention to other things that, are productive and healthy in life, but you are also still paying attention to things that may not be as productive. You may not be doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I go running, I lift weights, I garden, I walk elderly ladies across the street, whatever the fuck. I, fly balloons. I actively do things. That's great. But I'm also talking about what you pay attention to. So if you really break it down and you think about what you pay attention to in life, pretty much every day in life, but what you pay attention to, these coins, what you pay your life currency towards, it says a certain amount about what you value. And also what you literally spend your money on. In many ways. What you spend your money on, someone without knowing any intimate details about you would know some intimate details about you. That's why credit card companies and certain advertising companies love you. I know, because I run an advertising company. So what I'm trying to say to you is that time and money, in a certain way, when you think about it, they at some point they crisscross, they parallel, they become the same, and then they separate, and then they come back together. Time is money in a certain way, even though money is completely made up. Now, if you get to a more expansive mental level, some people say time is made up too. But I gotta smoke on that one. That one's too fucking deep for me. I needed something to let me smoke. Y'all know how I do. What's my catchphrase? I gotta smoke on that one. But what I'm saying though is if you think about it, time is money. But money is time, because also think about this. No, you can't use money to buy back actual time. You can't use money, as far as I know of. As far as I fucking know of, you can't use money to buy back years on your life. You can't use money to get back that last minute with your mom or your grandmother. You can't use money to make up for that mistake you made. We don't get an re-edit button in this life, as far as I'm aware of. So money can't buy time. Time is money in a certain way, but money isn't time. But money can buy you time in this sense. And this is where the shit gets weirdly circular while also paralleling and intersecting. People who have more money, resources, they often pay other people to do things for them so that they can reserve their time. But many of y'all already know that, but some people, oh yeah, that's right. When you got money, you're not in the garden unless you like the fucking garden, unless you're trying to get a tan, unless you're trying to get dirty for the sake of doing something. You want to be active. But if time becomes an issue, you pay somebody to get in that garden. I had a pool. You got money and you don't want to sacrifice your time, you get a fucking pool cleaner. But when you say, no, I want to really appreciate, and then you clean it yourself. Or if you don't got the money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of do-it-yourself shit. If you got the money and you don't feel like devoting the time to it, oh yeah, do-it-yourself is great. I really respect it. Hey man, can you come do it yourself? Because I'd rather just pay you for it. So time at a certain level can be bought in the sense of, instead of you spending you spent time to earn the money, and now you're going to spend money to reserve your time. And that's what many people who are wealthy people, many rich people, many people with resources do. They learn that balance. It's a seesaw. You got to spend the time to get the money. So many people are on the grind 24/7, planting seeds in the ground, nurturing it, harvesting, reaping it. You know what I'm saying? And it takes fucking time that hopefully you get. But then at some point, they use the proceeds of what they've reaped to reserve some of their time. And even when it comes to personal relationships, and I'll close with this. Once again, like I said kind of towards the beginning, the time that you give to someone taking time to give you some advice. You may not agree with the advice. On a certain level, you may feel disrespected that they think they can give you advice. But if you just slow down a second, exhale, and think about the fact that they're taking a certain amount of time, a certain amount of currency in their life to give it to you. So even if you reject the advice, and even if you think, oh, this motherfucker's always trying to tell me something, respect the fact that they just paid you. They just paid you their attention. And vice versa. Think about the times when you may try to, provide a little something to somebody. You went and you dropped off this shirt, you dropped off these clothes for charity. And this motherfucker looks at you like, you want these fucking clothes? But if they thought about the fact that you took the time and the energy and the effort, you paid a life currency to provide this. So we gotta remember that when it comes to, like I say, our relationships with each other, the time we use in our own lives, and in a certain deeper perspective. Like I say, time is money. Money is time, a little bit. I don't know, but so pay attention to motherfuckers, and maybe they'll pay attention to you. It's your boy. I gotta go pay attention to some other shit, but I'll get back at you. All right, famo.